The question says to us that Josh owns a specially designed refusal removal truck. He hires out this truck at a daily rate of 3,000 Rand excluding fuel. So we've got another little nice word over there. Whenever something is excluded, it is not included. It's the opposite. A group of friends decided to use the truck for the day to carry their refuse to the nearby dumping ground. The graph below indicates the amount each person will pay depending on the number of friends. So before we move on with this particular graph, there are certain things that you need to pay attention to. So the first thing that you would need to pay attention to, they're already mentioning friends. So you can see that a lot of people, or 2-3 people, are going to be chipping in towards this 3,000 Rand. So already there's going to be a relationship. And whenever we're doing income and expenditure, we are working with relationships. Whenever there's graphs involved, we are working with relationships. You need to know what the relationship is according to the scenario that has been given. Let's go down and just see what the relationship is in this particular one. So we know there's friends and we know there's money involved. So the first thing that we can see is the title of the graph over there. If we were not given a title, you would get a mark just for that title. And then we've got the cost per person, which is in rands. So it means that this is 3,000 Rand. Our graph does start at 3,000 Rand. And if you do go down, we have then we've got then number of persons, and the number of persons is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and going forth. You do, if you want to do that, I mean, you could put that in and just see if that matches. Sometimes it matches, sometimes it doesn't match. I mean, I'm just doing that because I can. So we can see now that the relationship between the number of persons versus the cost per rand is that obviously at 0 there's nothing happening because no one is hiring anything. But automatically we can tell that at one person, if one person were to hire going up, it would automatically then be 3,000 Rand. And that's a little clumsy, so I'm just going to remove that. And you'd see that at one person, it would give us the 3,000 Rand. So if one person hires this out, it would be 3,000 Rand. If 2 people hire it out, we take that 3,000 and divide it by 2, which would give us there 1,500. So if this were brought to the side like that, it would be 1,500. Don't be scared to be messy on your paper, okay? Don't be scared, because this is what's helping you basically. I'm a bit of a messy person when it comes to graphs because I want to go in, I want to dig deep. If it's 3 people, each person would then pay 1,000 Rand. If it's 4 people, then it would be a little below 800 Rand. If you want to work that out, it's going to give you, let's go and see what that would be. It's 3,000 Rand divided by 4 people. So it would give you around 750 Rand. So if you are curious about what's going on. So I've explained that even before we've read the questions. We don't know what the question is saying to us yet. So I'm going to now read the question for us, but the question is also, there. The question is not given, but I'm going to read the question for us there. So it says, use the graph above to answer the questions that follow. State the type of proportion represented in the graph. We have different types of proportion, and it is very important for you to know what type of proportion looks like what. So in this particular case, I'm going to describe and I'm going to explain the proportion that has been given here, and you'll take whatever that I'm saying, and the inverse of that will be the inverse of whatever that you are going to make a conclusion of. Okay, so in this particular instance, how do we see this? The relationship. I've been talking about the relationship. Let's go up. The more people there are, okay? Normally, if you want to see what type of relationship it is or what type of proportion it is, You need to see what happens as X increases. I told you I'm a bit messy when it comes to graphs. As X increases, so in this particular case, as the number, I'm going to write it down, as the number of persons, because that's how they said it, increases. So the more people there are, I could have just said that, right? As the number of persons increases, the cost per person decreases. The cost per person decreases. Okay? Meaning, as X increases, the Y values decrease. Hence, our graph looks like this. So what type of proportion is this? This is therefore an inverse or inverse proportion. This is inverse proportion, or it's inversely proportional, okay? It's an inverse proportion or inversely proportional, because as X increases, Y decreases. But if X was increasing and Y was also increasing, it would be direct proportion. It would be an increasing graph. So this is a decreasing graph, which then makes it inverse proportion. Okay, I hope that you're catching all my keywords and you writing your little notes down, and you're coming back and you're looking and referring back to everything that I have been saying. So please bear in mind, that is extremely important. Every single word that I've just said. This is not a question that is uncommon, okay, if that word exists. It's a common question in math literacy questions. This is an inverse relationship. It's inverse proportion. Write down the number of friends in the group if each paid 500 Rand. Let's go up and see exactly what it is that they're talking about. So I'm going to trace that again. 500 Rand would lie there. So I would use my graph. Does it say to me? It says write down the number of friends, okay? So I would go and I'd look for 500 Rand there, going down. So it means that you would need 6 friends in order for them to pay 500 Rand. How would I prove that, guys? How would I prove that? 3,000 Rand divided by 6 friends. There we go. Beautiful. And I was able to use my graph. So if you are insecure about tracing on the graph, but sometimes they will ask you, please go to the graph, use your graph. So in this particular case, they weren't really specific about what to use, but this question is out of 2 marks. So you might need to do a little calculation. So do your 3,000 Rand divided by 6 friends, and that will give you the 500 Rand, or do it like that actually, and it will give you exactly what you need. So the next question says to us, calculate the amount each person will pay if 7 friends hired the truck. So we know that the truck is 3,000 Rand. So what do we need to do to calculate the amount? How do we do that? We divide that 3,000 with 7. So let's go down. 3,000 Rand divided by 7. You can do that by head if you want. Wouldn't advise that. 3,000 Rand divided by 7. 428 Rand and 57. 428 Rand. 428 Rand just check that again, and 58, no, 57, sorry, I'm rounding it off to 2 decimal places. Money is rounded off to 2 decimal places, so you have to round that off to 2 decimal places unless stated otherwise.